Hello, fam. It is time, it's actually overdue, for me to announce a winner from last week's post where I showed you a commission that I had to illustrate AI and I guess the progression of AI and our human place in AI. And so I posted my illustration, and then I said that, in the comments, whoever puts in my favorite explanation or interpretation, I guess, gets the first print of it. And so I'm going to announce that today. And to refresh and to sort of just explain my thoughts on it, it was a drawing of C-3PO taking a selfie with the Tin Man. And there's sort of like a small, I guess, sort of topical version of what that drawing is. And then there's like kind of a deeper thing within that. So the topical version is that, historically, machines replacing humans, I would say, started around the Industrial Revolution, and we started to personify that with characters in art right around. I don't think the Tin Man was the first time. There was Metropolis and things like that, but the Tin Man, I would say, is the most well-known and the first one that really felt like an actual personality. And it also dealt with all of the, does he have a heart? Is he real? And so I would say, if that's the beginning, then to show the progression, you get someone like C-3PO, who I realize technically for the Star Wars people, that was probably far in the past, but we're going to ignore that and just say what the art of Star Wars was saying is that this is where we're going. Machines are going to get more and more complex to the point where we will have people machines who can learn all the languages and do complex tasks for us and sort of be our servants. That's what the droids were in Star Wars. And it was an accurate, maybe not visually accurate, but it was an accurate expectation of this is what the future holds. And so that's a simple version of, just as a cute little cartoon. It's C-3PO coming across the Tin Man and being oh, it's the OG, you were such an inspiration to me. Let me get a selfie with you. And so that's the fun version of it. And to dig deeper, though, if you look closer, it does show a more serious progression of AI and where we are in it. And actually, I don't know if this might be the simple version or the more complex version, but the vanity of C-3PO wanting to get a selfie with the Tin Man does represent a little bit the fact that we live online. And a lot of people more and more are looking at real life as sort of a backdrop for a selfie. And, if a tree falls in the forest and then nobody posts about it, are there really any such thing as trees, And so we all live as our avatar of ourselves on Instagram, and however people see us in those little edited snippets, that's how well we're doing in life. And we're becoming less and less concerned with what's happening when no one's around. And so that's kind of the in-between topical and deeper version, is that C-3PO is I need to show that I'm meeting the Tin Man. But to go fully into the more in-depth part, there are actually 4 characters in this drawing, starting from the axe and ending with the cell phone. And the cell phone isn't the end in terms of this is the most complex thing we have, this is the smartest robot we have. I mean, it kind of is, but obviously we're going to get more complex in the future. But the cell phone in this drawing doesn't represent the future of AI, meaning that our phones are now the smartest machine. It's actually representing that our phones are really just a portal to the most important robot of all right now, which is the collective technology that's at our fingertips, the cloud, the social media, the just what's available to us through our computers and through our phones. That's kind of the current robot that's really taking over. It's our collective populating all of that data that's out there. That's the machine that is kind of taking over our hearts and our minds and our activities. I guess to the top right of that drawing being the cell phone, which I had to put a little R2-D2 phone case on that just to be cute. But that represents sort of like the where we're going part in real life. And on the bottom left would be where it all started, is the axe, which I believe was what the Tin Man had, an accurate interpretation of like the beginning of technology. I mean, sure, we probably like smashed stuff with rocks and, you know, used sharpened bones to cut meat and stuff, but an axe, you know, same thing. It's a simple machine. It's a wedge to separate solid objects, and you know, that's where humans really started to leave being animals and being able to assemble these much more complex civilizations. Was, you know, doing things like figuring out, you know, axes and knives and you know, just simple stuff like that. For the axe to represent the dawn of it all, I put a little apple on it. And I know it seems like, you know, if C-3PO is holding a droid, which might actually be a droid, it might be an Android phone, and that's sort of just like a fun little pun. That's, you know, the other side of that would be, you know, then maybe the Tin Man has a apple, right? But that's not why I put the apple there. Really what I was thinking when I put the apple on the axe was that if you go back to the very beginning of humanity, I mean, none of us were there, who knows, but in literature, you know, in terms of, you know, the Wizard of Oz and Star Wars and stuff, if you go back to where literature says we started, in a lot of mythology and religions and stuff like that, the apple is a symbol of us kicking off that journey, you know. And like in the Old Testament, in Genesis, it's, you know, we ate the apple, that forbidden fruit, and that was the moment where we made a decision that we were gonna think for ourselves. And, you know, that's the moment where God bestowed intelligence onto humanity and was sort of like, all right, you're on your own now. You can make your own decisions. And there was kind of this attitude of like, well, we can't unring that bell. So let's just hope for the best. And all through history and all through mythology and storytelling in general, our intelligence has always been kind of a mixed blessing. You know, like we were cast out of the Garden of Eden with our fingers crossed, like, okay, here we go. There's no going back. And as you know, as we're dealing with AI in this drawing or in real life, we're sort of doing that. We're doing what God did in that story. Like, we made a creation and we're now giving it the gift of intelligence and sort of hoping for the best in a way that we can't unring that bell. Like, once we do this, you know, right now it's just, we don't have, I don't like that we call it artificial intelligence, or at least, I don't know. I think people misunderstand intelligence for like sentience and having a soul and having a heart and, you know, all the stuff that's in like Tin Man and all that stuff. But like, at some point we will have machines that actually can think and have an agenda. And we're not doing anything to stop that because there's way too much benefit right now to having machines thinking for us. And so we are letting this happen. We are making this happen, and we can't unring that bell. We can't take it back. It's just going to happen, and we're just going to hope for the best. And it's probably going to be the same story over again, where it's a mixed blessing. It's like life gets amazing, and also too bad about the, you know, the gooey flesh and blood humans that used to be around or used to be in charge or whatever. Who knows what's going to happen? But that's what's in the collective conscience right now, is that we're giving intelligence to machines, and we'll see where it goes. And the machines ultimately will be the ones to decide where that goes. And so in the drawing, you've got an axe, a very simple, you know, dawn of ingenuity with an apple on it. And then right up through where, you know, where I would say our generation or our era starts thinking about machines having a personality. And then the next version of that, C-3PO, you know, taking a selfie with him and being like, oh, you're the OG inspiration. And I got to show all of my friends on, you know, Instagram or TikTok that I met you. Otherwise it didn't happen. And then kind of progressing up to, you know, the phone, which represents that social media world and that cloud-based world where sort of the actual battlefield where all of this story is going to be taking place from now on. So that's my interpretation of the drawing. The person who commissioned it is happy with it, and they're now available on my website and everything. And the person who, in the comments, I'm looking at the comments right now, and there's a lot of really good ones. There's a lot of fun ones. There's a lot of them that are not what I was thinking, but I appreciated. And then there's some that were like kind of dancing around it. The one that I liked best, the one that I'm going to pick as the winner, is Stephanie Michaels, because even though nobody really mentioned the apple in the sort of biblical sense, and that was my favorite part, nor did they really get into the cell phone and the sort of greater kind of cloud-based world that is being created. I feel like Steph's comment got to the vanity and the, like, I guess, agenda for machines to even be caring about this kind of activity, which I think is the missing link right now. Right now, machines can do a lot of the stuff that we can do. They just don't care. They have no reason to, other than the fact that we told them to. And so I think that machines wanting to take selfies with each other and then showing everybody that they met shows that they have the same vanity and the same interpretation of themselves that we do. And I might be overthinking that stuff. Obviously, as for the rest of this entire like video that you've already heard, I definitely have a knack for overthinking things, but that one I think was the closest to that felt the most like what I was trying to draw. So Steph, you get print number 1. Unless you don't want it and you want to pick something else, you can pick anything pretty much from my inventory if it's not sold out. And if anybody else wants one, they're around. They're on my website and you know, my Etsy page and stuff. So thank you for sitting through my TED Talk, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope to see you soon, or at least I hope that my AI avatar that is on the interwebs that looks like me sees you soon, or sees the thing that looks like you. Anyway, love y'all. Bye.